Kayla Barnum. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a fishing net by hand. I'll be using my great-grandfather's fishing net needle. According to the Heritage Foundation of Newfoundland, net making and mending is an endangered craft. Using simple items you have at home and following this tutorial, we can give net fixing and chill a whole new meaning for 2022. To weave a fishing net, you will need yarn, a fishing net needle, a knot board. I used an old credit card, but you could also use a piece of cardboard, and a loop to tie your net onto. Before you start making your net, you're going to have to load your netting needle. I like to start by placing my thumb on the yarn and then bringing the yarn up to the eye of the needle, and you bring it down to the heel. You wrap it around one of the little feet, and then you turn your needle around and you do the same thing. You bring the yarn up to the eye, wrap it around the tongue, bring it down to the heel, turn your needle around, and you just continue like that, over and over again. This is just a time lapse of me loading my needle. Once you're all done and your needle is loaded, you're ready to start weaving. Alright, so one thing to note about the loop is you want to make sure it's big enough to pass your fishing net needle through. Once you've made your loop, you're going to need to tie the end of your yarn to the loop so that way you can begin weaving. Make sure the two pieces are connected. Once you've done that, then you're ready to begin weaving. Before I start, I'll explain what the word mesh means. Mesh is just the name of the loops in a net. The first step to add your first row of mesh is to bring your knot board up close to your loop. Make sure the yarn is attached to your needle, and make sure your yarn is flush against your knot board. Next, you bring your needle through the back of the loop and pass everything through. What you have done here is created a loop around your knot board. You want to leave a little bit of yarn at the bottom of your knot board as a second loop. You then pick up that bottom loop and pass your needle through it. Pay close attention to how this step creates a more secure loop around your knot board. Pull up the yarn nice and tight so it'll create your first knot and loop at the top. Now you need to lock it off, which means securing the loop in place. What you need to do is toss the yarn attached to your needle over your hand like so. You want to make sure that the yarn isn't over top of your loop, but actually laying on top of it. You want to pick up that top loop again and pass your needle through. Slowly pull the yarn, letting it form into a knot at the top. This will lock it into place. And then after that, you just want to repeat this step as many times as you want. The number of loops that you make determines the length of your net. So now what you're seeing is just a time lapse of me continuing to make that first row of mesh on my net. When you're all done, you can go ahead and remove your loops from your knot board. So now we can go ahead and make our second row of mesh. This time it's a bit different. Like before, bring your knot board up close to the first loop. It can get very mixed up, so you want to make sure that it is indeed the first loop. Next, you are going to pick up your first loop with your needle. Again, make sure it is the first loop. Once you've picked it up, you can pass your needle through. Make sure your twine goes around the back of your knot board and lay the rest of the twine on top. Now toss your yarn over your hand like before. So what's different about this time is we're going to be doing this passing through twice. The first time, you're going to want to go through the first loop. When you've passed through the first one, make sure not to pull too hard. And the second time, you'll want to go through the second loop. Finally, if you pull tight, you will have your first knot and loop on your second row of mesh. You just repeat this process over and over again. I'll go ahead and show you how it's done a second time. Next, you are going to pick up your first loop with your needle. Once you've picked it up, you can pass your needle through. Now toss your yarn over your hand like before. The first time, you're going to want to go through the first loop, and the second time you'll want to go through the second loop. You just repeat this process over and over again. You'll notice that I'm using the help of my mom, whose finger is in the shot here. It's much easier to do the net weaving if you have your loop attached to something securely to create tension. But then you just keep doing the previous steps until you reach the end of your mesh. You'll be able to feel when the yarn is tight. Make sure your yarn is flush with your knot board and that it's not slipping off. Then go ahead and remove your knot board once you have completed your second row of mesh. To make your third and fourth row of mesh, you're going to repeat how you made the second row of mesh for the rest of your meshes. And that's it. You just continue making it like this until you've made a net.